The good and the bad of the people in Otter Creek, Florida. Just my opinion, nobody else's. Let's start with TC, also known as Thomas Collins, which he is actually did good and bad both. What he did with the light was not a good sign for anybody to do while videotaping. That was kind of rude. He's got great videos as far as his mechanic work and stuff like that, and I do enjoy that. Him going to the scrap yards. But then he gets in with Russ and Don and he starts to do weird stuff. And that one video, I know that was one of the reasons he kind of shadow banned me, was I called him out on the hypocrisy of that video of them trying to set up a meeting with just two of them there outside because they couldn't get in. And one thing you can do with people is, especially on webcams, look at what their actions are other than their own webcams, because editing is a big part of what they do. And, you know, like Thomas isn't going to show the bad things he does. Jeremy's not going to show the bad things he does. Thomas, being young, to me he's young, he's going to do weird stuff. I like his videos going to the flea market, but I really don't think he's caught on to what Russ and Don is doing, but he is following them, and that's a shame, because that guy's probably went through hell as a child a lot of the time. He seems to have a decent personality, but like I said, see what that person does on somebody else's video cam. And like and you can be friends with whoever you want. Nobody has the right to say it shouldn't be. But on one I seen, he was walking away with Laura Mott at the end of this person's video. And I know he used to work with Russ and helped him out, which is good, and give him extra money. And he's out there, even though he's not employed, but he's self-employed, which you have to work sometimes harder. He doesn't do as good a job as it is Jeremy, but he is out there doing things. You have some of the things he does, if you want put a dollar sign in front of it, not much money. But that's okay. He's still out doing stuff. You know, like I've said before, if I lived there, I probably wouldn't have very little communication with him. Not because I hate him, we're just different. That is, in a lot of ways, like I said, him doing the mechanic work and that is not unusual for where I grew up at. So you do attract yourself to that. Now, would I trust him on the political end? And no, I wouldn't. When he is willing to virtually defend Russ and Don, which, not so much Don, but Russ, you can pinpoint to bad things he has done. And that's where, and Russ is good at manipulating, and he definitely manipulates that kid. I call him a kid. Thomas is not a kid. Because he just knows how to do it. Look at the manipulation he has done in that town. And John kind of follows him. I don't know. John has to have some type of brain to have the business he had. But, as I've said before, when you get older like Russ and Don, they shouldn't even be on that board or council, not board. But Don will more likely, I think, get back on. Russ will be trying to run them by proxy, and he's going to do everything he can to do that, which is sad for the city or town. So that's Thomas. Then you got Lynette and John, who obviously are not that stable with the videos out there. I've never seen them, and I ain't saying they're not good people, but if you go on the videos out there, these guys are nuts. They get a child and say all this stuff's wrong with her and need masks, then they don't, which I don't believe she needs a mask anyway. John just is unhinged, willing to swing a gun around and all that stuff. He is a danger to that community. He has a right to live there, but he is still a danger. Can you imagine being neighbors to them too, with the way they act, the people they have on their property? It just would not be a safe environment for the child, nor any neighbor close by. Whether you like the neighbor or not, it would be a danger. And it's hard to comprehend why a judge would even back them to. Granted, if there was something that was just cause in it, yeah, back him, but she's already lied in court, lied to the judge, and the judge has never done anything about it. Then, and a little bit on Jeremy. Like I said, I don't mind Jeremy at all, and he would be another one that I'd say hi to and all that, but I probably wouldn't hang around with him hardly at all. Matter of fact, if I had his property, very few people, yeah, right. Very few people would see me because I'd be on that property constantly and enjoying myself. Maybe one day Jeremy will be able to do that. But what Jeremy's problem is, when he hates somebody, he really goes after them with words, and words can hurt. Now, I remember a video. They were at the town hall meeting, and Thomas had mentioned an appreciation for the veterans. When Jeremy edited it and put his out, he didn't mention it because he didn't like Jeremy, or Jeremy didn't like Thomas, so he cut that out, and you did not get that on Jeremy's channel. His prerogative to do that, but Thomas showed what he said on his. And that's what I'm getting at. Sometimes when you see a video, it can be edited to make it look different. Like the confrontation between John and Jeremy's calling him all kinds of names and backing up and challenging him. Kind of seems that there was some editing on that one too. What John had said is not in it. So whoever edited it made it sound like it was all Jeremy. I'm not saying Jeremy was in the right by any means on that, but editing is a fun thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. Now, like I said, nothing against Jeremy at all. Jeremy's a good person. So is Thomas, for the most part. Jeremy's problem is like he's gotten after Thomas for helping clean up the town and swearing up and down Thomas is not from Otter Creek. Thomas don't say he was. He just lives by Otter Creek. And you know, where I grew up, I haven't been there since I was 19. Well, I've been there, but I haven't lived there since I was 19. And I'll always consider to the day I die, that's where I'm from, is Howe. I don't say I'm from Idaho Falls. I live in Idaho Falls, but my heart will always be there. I think Thomas sometimes is like that. But I've seen some things on Thomas on other people's video that kind of makes you wonder exactly what's going on. And if you want to see contrast, just go out and watch 2 or 3 different people's video as what one's edited. And sometimes it's going to take that to get the true picture. Now, right now, he's always criticizing Thomas, but the criticism should be with his court, with the people in the court, and what is trying to be done to him there. That should be a priority over everything. Because it would not be right if he wound up in jail. Yeah, little counties and that are probably really offended by the Ohio order, which I see, protection order. That does offend other states when another state tries to tell you what to do. And it is hard, and I think it's in every state. Although the good will come out, they will fight it until the end, where they can't fight it anymore. And that secretary to the city council, she's doing it. She don't have to be there. She could walk away. This job isn't for the money. It's for her to do the right thing in her mind. And she is. What a lovely lady. She has to take so much, and she sacrifices so much to get the things done right. And she really is trying hard, and she's accomplishing it. I know town council and some of them on there can't stand her because she's going by the book. The real book, not Russ's copy. And the former mayor, I can see her wanting to get out of it. Seems like a nice lady and everything. But they were coming after her with all barrels. And that Form 6 kind of did her in. She didn't want people to know everything about her and her finances, which I understand. I wouldn't either. More power to the people that don't care, but I'd be one that would care. She obviously cared too and didn't want her privacy put out, which is very good. You know, that town, you look at it, has got, even though it's small, seems to have really good people in there. You have somebody that's not from that town, but outside of town there that's willing to help others out. You have Jeremy putting on Christmas in the Creek, which was great. These guys, the Thomas and Jeremy, don't get along. I can see why Jeremy has a little problem with him. Because supposedly Thomas bragged about he could get on Jeremy's property and get away with it and all this stuff when Jeremy first bought it. But it's like a guy told me that my dad worked for. A person that brags out usually not going to do anything about it. It's the quiet ones you have to worry about. You know, that, let's get back to the town itself. That would be a really nice place to live. I wouldn't live there at the moment. If I was younger and had an option of where winter there and summer here, I would do it. Back when I was younger, anyway. The only thing is, I don't like alligators. So maybe that wouldn't be the greatest. Matter of fact, right now, if I had the ability, I don't have a house payment or nothing like that. But if I had more money, I would probably either go to Arizona or Nevada part-time and the rest of the time here. Mainly because I'm older and it's closer to home. If I was younger, Florida would be great. Now, a place like California, I probably wouldn't want to go. That's just me, though. But I'd like to know more about Otter Creek, the old buildings and all that. It'd be nice to hear somebody get on here and explain what they were and how they operated and who owned them, and if it's still family that has it or if they just moved away and the property is just abandoned. But as far as the people go in Otter Creek, they need to learn to get along better. They've always had water problems with the town. Zim's trying to improve it, but has to fight everybody. Zim's another one that's kind of interesting, and I would vote for him if I were there. But he has a big plate at the moment, and maybe he's going to get some help coming down the line. It'd be nice to see that place prosper. And I understand when you get older people, they don't want to grow at all. That's like where I'm from, the biggest town's Arco, Idaho. And there's a big old government site out there. And Arco could have had some of the, and they used to have Navy out there because there's underground water. And they had the Navy out there. Arco could have been what Idaho Falls is, but they didn't want to grow like that. They wanted to stay small, and they did. It's more of a ranching and farming community. A few people work out to the site, but not a lot anymore. But small towns have a tendency to want to stay small, which in some ways are good and in some ways bad. Like Otter Creek sets in an ideal spot to grow, but the people don't want it to grow. And when you get people like Russ and Don in there, they will do everything in that town to make sure it don't. Just remember, there are more good people in this world, more good people in Otter Creek than bad. When you decide which is better, all the good people or all the bad people, good is going to win out. It may take time, and Jeremy probably in the end will come out ahead. And I hope everybody else that wants to prosper in that town does really well and moves forward. Thank you all.